The other team know what blood-curdling screams. That's our Mets fans. But when Mets fans shout, go, what they mean we all know. We've got no place to go but up.
At the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, it's the New York Mets meeting the Houston Astros in a Sunday doubleheader. Rheingold brings you National League Baseball with the New York Mets. Rheingold, New York's best-selling beer, and what a remarkable thing that is. In New York, a city of so many different people with different tastes, one beer has become the favorite, Rheingold. We don't know why, but we must be doing something right.
Today's game is also brought to you by WGY, your sports station for the Great Northeast. WGY brings you the full schedule of Mets regular season games live from Major League parks throughout the country.
Well, hi, everybody. This is Bob Murphy with Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson, greeting you from the Astrodome in Houston, in the broadcast of today's doubleheader between the Mets and the Astros. The pitchers in the first game of today's doubleheader. For the visiting New York Mets, making his Major League debut as a starter, 19-year-old rookie right-hander Nolan Ryan. And on the mound for the Houston Astros in the first game of today's doubleheader will be veteran right-hander Bob Bruce. We'll be posting the starting lineups and the batting orders and getting underway with a play-by-play in just one moment.
Arden is out to get you. She thinks she's out to get a bargain on towels with a neighbor, but she's out to get you.
Elaine, I understand they have a really good buy on bath towels. And you know the way those kids go through towels. It's almost unbelievable. I know what you mean, Mary. It's the same thing at our place. And while we're there, I'd like to look at some of their bedding. Charlotte says she's never seen nicer things, and so reasonable. I can hardly wait to get there. You know what a bargain hunter I am.
Mary's been driving for a mistake until today.
Mary, you're over the center line.
Now, Mary's mistake becomes your mistake, too. Tens of thousands of good drivers like Mary Harden make a fatal mistake every year, and any one of them can share that mistake with you. You can't prevent the other driver's mistake, but you can be prepared to avoid the consequences. Wherever, whenever you drive, expect the unexpected. Watch out for the other guy.
Now, as the Houston Astros take the playing field for the batting orders and lineups, let's check in with Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Bob, leading off for the Mets, Bud Harrelson playing shortstop. Batting second, playing second base, Chuck Hiller. Batting third and playing third base, Ken Boyer. Ken has hit in 10 consecutive games. Batting fourth, playing right field, Al Luplow. Batting fifth, playing first base, Ed Kranepool. Batting sixth in center field, Cleon Jones. The seventh batter will be the left fielder, Larry Elliott. Batting eighth and catching, Jerry Grody. And the pitcher, Nolan Ryan, batting ninth. And now from Houston, Texas, our national anthem. Astrodome in Houston, Texas, our national anthem. For the Houston Astros, they are 3.5 games ahead of the Mets. The leadoff batter will be the center fielder, Rock Davis. Batting second and playing shortstop, Sonny Jackson. Batting third and playing second base, Joe Morgan. Batting in the cleanup position, playing first base, Chuck Harrison. Batting fifth in right field, Rusty Staub. The sixth batter will be the catcher, Bill Heath. Batting seventh, playing third base, Bob Aspromonte. Batting eighth and playing left field, Norm Miller. And the pitcher, Bob Bruce, batting ninth. So the Mets taking on the Houston Astros. They have played 11 times this year. The Mets have won 8 games. The Astros have won 3. Right here in Houston inside, the Mets have won 3 of 5 games played. That's with a chance to take a season series for the first time this year in this 3-game series. Make it a 4-game series with 2 games here today. And following with a game on Monday and Tuesday, both at night. Now for the play-by-play as the game gets underway, Bob Murphy.
All right, Ralph, thank you very much, and hi, everybody. Leading off in the game, switch hitter Bud Harrelson. We start the afternoon in the National League pennant race. The Dodgers lead. The Pirates 2.5 games back. The Giants 3 games out. Veteran right-hander Bob Bruce delivers, and Bud Harrelson, bluffing at a bunt, takes inside ball 1. This afternoon, the Giants are at home at Candlestick Park, opening a 4-game series against Pittsburgh. The Dodgers at home at Dodger Stadium, meeting the Philadelphia Phillies. And the fastball is on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Setting up the Astros defensively, Chuck Harrison is the first baseman. Joe Morgan playing second. Sonny Jackson at short. Bob Aspromonte at third. Ground ball bounced right at Joe Morgan, a big hop, and he pegs to Harrison, retiring Bud Harrelson. Now Chuck Hiller stepping in. Chuck batting at 307. In the outfield for the Astros, the left fielder is rookie Norm Miller. The center fielder is rookie Brock Davis. Around in right field, Rusty Staub. Bill Heath behind the plate, and on the mound, right-hander Bob Bruce. Hot summer day in Houston, but delightful here in the Astrodome, which is completely air-conditioned. Now the pitch on the way. A grounder hit down to first. A big hop for Harrison. He'll take it himself. 2 men down. Now Ken Boyer. Ken batting at 270 is riding a 10-game hit streak. 14 home runs and 61 runs batted in. Ken the team leader in runs batted in. 19-year-old rookie right-hander Nolan Ryan, the Mets pitcher in the first game today. Now the fastball is over, strike 1. It is still too early in the afternoon for the 2 key games on the West Coast. A smash toward the hole, one-handed by Aspromonte. Through to first, and Boyer is out. Beautiful play by Aspromonte, the Houston third baseman. Lunging off to his left, he came up with that offbeat hop. Side retired. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left on. In the middle of the first, the Mets nothing, and the Astros coming to bat. Did you ever stop to think of how many lonesome travelers there are here and yonder, and how thirsty they get?
Well, I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I've been traveling on. I traveled here and then
From California to New York, the American folk singer travels here and yonder, carrying with him the music of the whole world and its peoples. And sometimes when the traveling gets thirsty, he puts down his guitar and accompanies himself with a cold beer, maybe Rheingold. And in New York City, where more songs and travelers stop than anywhere else in the world, more people buy Rheingold Extra Dry than any other beer. How come? Maybe it's the Oregon hops we use. Who knows? But we must be doing something right.
Now the last of inning number 1. On the mound for New York, right-hander Nolan Ryan. Nolan is from Alvin, Texas, about 20 miles south of Houston. His family will be here watching him making his major league debut as a starter. Nolan is a slender right-hander who has come a long way in a hurry. He was signed out of high school last year by Met scout Red Murph. He spent 2 months at Marion, Virginia in the Rookie League. Then this year he pitched for Pete Pavlik at Greenville in the Western Carolina League, where he was 17-2. He was moved up to Bill Verdon's Williamsport Club in late August, August 25th. He won none and lost 2 after being moved up, but had an ERA of 0.9. Brock Davis leading off, and the first pitch of fastball is outside, ball 1. This young man's strikeout record has been phenomenal this year in the minor league. He struck out 307 men. Now a swing and a miss. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. He struck out 307 men in something like 201 innings. Now the windup, and the pitch by Nolan Ryan, and it's a wild one, sailing all the way to the backstop. 2 balls and a strike. Nolan Ryan signed right out of high school in Alvin, Texas. He relies on a fastball, a curve, and changeup. His strikeout pitch is his fastball. He has been working on turning over a sinker, and was saying that as he warmed up before the game, if he felt like he had one going, he'd use it. Fastball high, 3-1. This is his second outing in the major leagues. He was used 2 innings in relief against the Atlanta Braves at Shea Stadium. In the 2 innings, he struck out 3, gave up 1 hit. That was an opposite field home run by Joe Torre. Now the 3-1 delivery, and it's outside, ball 4, and Brock Davis reaches on a walk. Now Sonny Jackson, the shortstop, hitting at .291. Sonny Jackson, the rookie shortstop, beg your pardon, has stolen 44 bases. A Baltimore chop. It'll be hard to throw him out. No play. Everybody is safe. Took the high hop off home plate, and by the time Harrelson got a glove on it, in behind the mound, he had no chance. So it's an infield hit for Sonny Jackson. And Nolan Ryan finds himself in a jam here in the opening inning. Now the hitter is Joe Morgan, the second baseman. Morgan, hitting .289, has 5 home runs and 36 runs batted in. He was named to the National League All-Star team, but had to miss the game due to an injury. Morgan, left-hand hitter, and Nolan Ryan in a jam here in the first. The slender right-hander checks the runners. Now the pitch on the way, and it's low, ball 1. In the National League, the Chicago Cubs lead the Cardinals 2-1 after 4.5 on a 2-run homer by Ernie Banks. The Reds and Braves are 3-3 after 2.5. He holds up on the swing. The fastball is over. 1 ball and 1 strike. The big games are on the West Coast. The Pirates playing in San Francisco. The Phillies in Los Angeles. In the American League, Cleveland nothing, Detroit nothing at the end of 3. Yankees 2 and the Twins nothing after 5.5 with Fritz Peterson on the mound. Now the pitch to Morgan, a high pop foul coming back toward the crowd. No play for Jerry Grody. Ball lands on the screen out in front of our broadcast microphone. In the completion of the suspended game in Washington, the A's beat the Senators 3-0. Krause was the winner. Now the regular game, no score at the end of an inning and a half. Odom against Ortega. The Angels lead the Red Sox 4-1 at the end of 4. Rubio pitching for the Angels. Sheldon has relieved Lonborg. And the Orioles lead the White Sox 2-1 at the end of 4 with Wally Bunker pitching. Now way inside and low, it's 2-2. At the end of the third quarter at Shea Stadium, the New York Jets lead the Houston Oilers 38-13. And Joe Namath has thrown 5 touchdown passes. Now Nolan Ryan checks the runners. The pitch outside and high, ball 3. And he's a pitch away now from loading the bases. He throws hard. And if he's a little bit jittery here at the start, it certainly is understandable. The age of 19 with only 1 full year in baseball behind him, he's starting a major league ball game. The 3-2 delivery, the runners go, and it's lined into center field for a base hit. Davis around third is scoring. Racing around third and now holding up is Sonny Jackson. The Astros lead 1-0 on the run-scoring single to center by Joe Morgan. Runners on first and third, nobody out, and the cleanup batter, Chuck Harrison, coming up. Harrison hitting .245. At the end of the third quarter, the Buffalo Bills are leading the Miami Dolphins 51-10. In the NFL, the Eagles lead the Atlanta Falcons 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. The Steelers lead the Lions 3-0 at the half. Cleveland 17, Green Bay 14, a third quarter score. Now a foul ball back, no play. Washington nothing, the St. Louis Cardinals nothing, a first quarter score. Nothing yet on the New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys. Nobody out. Right-hand batter Chuck Harrison is the hitter. And Jack Hamilton has started to warm up in the Mets bullpen. Now the pitch by Nolan Ryan. Foul ball whacked back upstairs. Strike two. Brock Davis, the center fielder and leadoff batter, opened the game for Houston in the last of the first inning with a walk. Sonny Jackson reached on an infield hit on a Baltimore chop. And on 3-2, Morgan singled to center, scoring Brock Davis, and Sonny Jackson went from first to third. Now Nolan Ryan, with a 2-strike count on Chuck Harrison, looks in for his sign. Here's the pitch on the way, and it's high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Runners at first and third take a lead. Down comes the pitch. A long drive hit deep to left field, way back. Back to the wall goes Elliott, and he bangs off the wall for a base hit. Morgan is scoring. Morgan is on his way to third. Jackson has scored. Into second with a double is Chuck Harrison. The Astros lead 2-0 on the double off the left field wall by Chuck Harrison. 3 hits in a row off Nolan Ryan. Astros in front now, 2-0, and they have runners on second and third, nobody out. Houston wielding hot bats. They had 11 runs and 17 hits off Philadelphia yesterday. Now Morgan is on third, Harrison on second, and the hitter is Rusty Staub. Rusty's had a good year. Batting at .290 with 13 home runs and 79 runs batted in. Nolan Ryan into his windup, and the youngster's fastball is outside, ball 1. Nuts getting Jack Hamilton warm in the bullpen. That double hit about 5 feet from the bottom of the fence, and Larry Elliott wasn't back to the wall, so Ryan didn't get any help there. Now the fastball is outside, 2 balls and no strikes. The ball definitely could have been caught. Visiting ball club always has some adjustments to make when they come into the Astrodome. It's not why I like playing the game outside when you try to pick that ball up against that webbing. Now the 2-0 delivery, and the fastball is outside, ball 3. So Nolan Ryan off to a rocky start. The youngster behind now, 3-0 on Rusty Staub. Runners on second and third, 2 runs are in, and nobody out. The on-deck batter is the catcher, Bill Heath. 3-0 delivery. Fastball over, a strike, 3-1. Nolan Ryan is 6-1. He deals off the top. He has a nice-looking motion. Very smooth motion, Ralph, and he whips that ball hard.
I'll tell you one thing. He's the best-looking pitcher that the Mets have had around. I don't know how long he'll last in this ball game, but he's got a future if he doesn't hurt his arm.
Now time is called. Rusty Staub stepping out. Nolan Ryan into his windup. The 3-1 delivery. Fastball, it's over, strike 2, and he really hummed that one in there.
He really moves that ball.
It's 3-2.
The thing about him that's so good is the fact that he does it with apparently little effort. It's a very smooth pitching motion, and he really hums it.
Now 3-2 on Rusty Staub. Ryan over the head. Down comes the arm. A swing and a miss. He got him. He was behind Staub 3-0, and he came back to strike him out on 3 fastballs. That brings up Bill Heath. Bill Heath batting at .307. He's been in 47 ball games. John Bateman, the number 1 Houston backstop, probably will work the second ball game. Nellie Fox coaching at first. Jim Busby on the lines at third. Now Ryan pausing to catch his breath for a moment. Moves into his windup, and the pitch to Heath is low and outside, ball 1. Good play by Jerry Grody. That one got away from Nolan Ryan more than any pitch he has thrown. This is the first game of a doubleheader. Tug McGraw pitches in the second game against Dave Justy. Mets playing the infield end. And the pitch to Bill Heath. A fastball over at the letters. A called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Young Nolan Ryan getting Rusty Staub for his first major league strikeout. Staub has had a good year. He's sitting at 290 with 79 runs batted in. He struck out 3 in a 2-inning relief then against the Braves. Ground ball hit right through the middle by Bill Heath. 1 run is in. Rounding third and heading home is Harrison. The throw coming in, not in time. And the Astros have 4 runs in. Bill Heath taking that nice level swing, hit the ball right back up the middle against Nolan Ryan. The Astros have 4 runs in, and the batter is Bob Aspermani. Aspermani hitting .248, has 8 home runs and 49 runs batted in. Nolan Ryan checks the runner at first, and the pitch to Astro is a strike on the outside corner. Now Billy Hepler is warming up along with Jack Hamilton. Nolan Ryan up in pitching position. Down comes the pitch, and a curve is in the dirt, but blocked by Jerry Grody, and Jerry keeps the ball out in front of him. The battery in this ball game this afternoon for New York of Nolan Ryan and Jerry Grody is the Texas battery. Nolan from Alvin, Texas, about 20 miles south of the Astrodome. Jerry from San Antonio. Ed Greenberg playing first and holding against the base runner, Bill Heath. A 1-1 delivery, a swing and a miss on a curveball. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nolan Ryan going now to his curveball after the Astros hit his fastball. Now Ryan checks the runners. The 1-2 delivery, a foul ball back into the screen. In the National League standings, the New York Mets are 3.5 games behind the Houston Astros. Houston gaining 1 game in the last 2 days. They won yesterday as the Mets lost. Now it's fouled, back up into the crowd, no play. Fourth quarter at Shea Stadium in the American Football League home opener for Wade Eubank's New York Jets. It's the Jets 52 and the Houston Oilers 13. Nolan Ryan checks the runner at first, and he throws over to first base. Bill Heath edging out first. Down comes the pitch. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. He got him with a high hardwood. Second strikeout for Nolan Ryan, and now coming up to hit is the rookie left fielder, Norm Miller. Norm Miller is from Sherman Oaks, California, a suburb of Los Angeles. Originally signed by the Angels. Drafted as a first-year player by the Houston Astros. He played at Oklahoma City in the Pacific Coast League this year and batted .241. Miller hitting left. Down comes the pitch by Nolan Ryan, and it's right in there for a call strike. Previous years in the minor leagues, Norm Miller hit .301 at Quad Cities, .289 at Amarillo. And this year played at Oklahoma City, so he's had 3 years in the minors. He hit a 3-run homer against the Phillies yesterday. And the curve is in the dirt, gets away, and Bill Heath is moving on to second base. Wild pitch by Nolan Ryan. Are in on 4 walks. There's been a walk and a wild pitch. 4 runs in on 4 hits. There's been 1 walk, 1 wild pitch. Now with first base open, they'll intentionally walk Norm Miller and pitch to the Houston pitcher, Bob Bruce. The wild pitch created the open base at first. And Norm Miller now is receiving the intentional walk. There's ball 4. Norm Miller goes down to first base. Runners on first and second, 2 men down, and Bruce is the 9th man up in the inning. The 9th man up in the inning, right-hand hitter. Here's the pitch by Nolan Ryan, and it's fouled to back up toward the crowd and out of play. Bruce, as a hitter, has had 3 hits and 37 times at bat. Following today's doubleheader, Wes Westrom will be pitching Bob Shaw and Jack Fisher in the final 2 games of the series. A swing and a miss on a breaking ball, strike 2. Doubleheader here today, night games tomorrow night and Tuesday night. Mets then will move on to Cincinnati to close out their road trip. Two runners take a lead, and the pitch to Bruce is fouled. Back up into the crowd, no play. Checks the runners. The pitch to Bruce, another foul ball. This one right straight back into the screen. Houston 4, New York nothing. We're in the last half of the first inning. Been a long first inning for the 19-year-old right-hander, Nolan Ryan. Now the pitch on the way, and the curve is over. Strike 3 call. Well, he struck out 3 in the first inning, but before he could do so, 9 men came up. 4 runs scored on 4 hits. No errors, 2 left on. At the end of 1, the Houston Astros 4 and the New York Mets nothing. Here are the warm-ups now for the key games on the West Coast of the National League. Pittsburgh and San Francisco, it'll be Woody Fryman, 11-8, against Gaylord Perry. Perry has won 20 and lost 7. And in the Dodger game for Philadelphia, Larry Jackson. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, left-hander Claude Osteen, trying for his 17th win of the year. Otherwise, in the National League, the Cardinals and Cubs are tied 2-2 after 5.5. The Cardinals have surged into a tie for 4th place with Philadelphia. Cincinnati and Atlanta tied 3-3 at the end of 4 innings. Mets return home for their last 5 games of the home season, starting Tuesday night, September 27th, when they open a 2-game series against Chicago. By the way, for the members of the Met Fan Club, they'll be meeting with Cleon Jones on the night of the 27th in the special Met Fan Club room. On the 30th, they'll be discussing pitching with Bob Shaw, and on October 1st, outfield play with Al Luplow. For tickets, just write to the Mets Fan Club, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York, or pick them up at any of the Met regular ticket outlets. And if you wish to bring a used, not a broken toy, the Lady Met Club will send it to a needy child in the name of the player that you're visiting. Al Luplo is up against right-hander Bob Bruce as the game now moves to the second inning. A high fly ball hit to center field. Moving in is Brock Davis, the center fielder, and he puts it away for the out. One away, nobody on. Coming on to hit is Eddie Kranepool. Eddie batting at .251. 15 home runs and 54 runs batted in. Eddie had 4 for 5 in yesterday's heartbreaking loss to the Giants. Now, a final score from Shea Stadium in the home opener for the New York Jets. A tremendous performance by the Jets as they defeat the Houston Oilers. The final score, the New York Jets 52, the Houston Oilers 13. And it's a strike on the inside corner. Final score in the National Football League, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Detroit Lions 17-3. The wind-up in the pitch by Bruce. A foul ball back up toward our broadcasting booth and out of play. The Minnesota Vikings are leading the Baltimore Colts 22-10 at the half. The Philadelphia Eagles lead the Atlanta Falcons 13-10 going to the last quarter. They're in the last quarter with the Cleveland Browns leading the Green Bay Packers 17-14. The 1-2 pitch by Bruce is up high. It's 2-2 on Eddie Kranepool. The 2-2 delivery, a ground ball hit hard right up the middle, a base hit by Eddie Kranepool. Single to center by Eddie. 1 out and 1 on. Cleon Jones comes up. You know, youth opportunity depends on education. The more you learn, the more you learn. So stay in school and prepare yourself for a really good job. You'll be glad you did. Now Cleon waiting. Fastball is on the inside corner, strike 1. Popped out of the glove of Bill Heath. Houston in front, 4-0. Crowd still coming in here in the Astrodome on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Ground ball hit toward the hole, and it's going through for a base hit to right. Kranepool around second is on his way to third. The throw by Staub is not in time. Eddie goes in standing up, and the Mets have runners on first and third. Cleon Jones, right-hand batter, hitting that grounder through the hole on the right side of the infield. The ball was not hit hard, but it was well placed, just beyond the reach of Harrison and Morgan. Now Larry Elliott batting at .245. Larry has been particularly effective offensively against the Houston Astros. A ground ball, a foul, beyond the reach of Yogi and on down the right field line. Sign is going down to the bullpen now for Jack Hamilton to start warming up. In the event the Mets get a big inning going and have a chance to put up a hitter. Jerry Grudy is the on-deck batter. He's the number 8 hitter. The runner goes, a swing and a miss, a peg to second, not in time. A stolen base for Cleon Jones, his 16th. On second and third, 1 man out. Larry Elliott facing Bob Bruce. And now Bruce wants to talk to his catcher, Bill Heath. So while they are getting together near the mound, we'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
This is the voice of the Mets in the great Northeast, WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The time, 2 minutes past 4, the temperature 77 degrees at the Albany County Airport.
Bob Murphy with Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson from the Astrodome. Bruce delivers low and outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Larry Elliott. Larry Canfield in the batter round now, waiting on the big right-hander, Bob Bruce. Eddie Craneville on third, Cleon Jones on second. A drive hit hard for a base hit to right center field. Craneville scores. Cleon Jones is scoring. The play is going to second base. Not in time, and Elliott doubles, 2 runs in. Larry Elliott doubling 2 runs home. Jerry Grody comes up. Here's the pitch on the way, and it's a strike on the inside corner. Against the Astros this year, Larry Elliott came into this ball game hitting .421. Danny Coombs is starting to warm up, along with Don Wilson for the Houston Astros. And the changeup is inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets getting back into it. Now trail 4-2, and Jerry Grody is the batter with Larry Elliott on second. And a slow curve is over for a strike. It's 2-2. Nolan Ryan is scheduled to hit next, but Jack Hamilton is getting ready in the bullpen. Mets now have 3 hits in a row off Bob Bruce. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. He curved him out of there. Now Nolan Ryan is the scheduled hitter. Today is the 41st birthday of pitching coach Harvey Haddix of the New York Mets. Now Johnny Lewis is coming out of the dugout, and Johnny is going to bat for Nolan Ryan. Final score in the National Football League, the Green Bay Packers pulled it out, defeating the Cleveland Browns 21-20. The Browns were leading going into the last quarter. The Packers outscored the Browns 7-3 in the 4th and final quarter to win a thriller. Green Bay 21, Cleveland 20. That's the final. And the final at Shea Stadium, the New York Jets 52, the Houston Oilers 13. Now Johnny Lewis is the pinch hitter, batting for Nolan Ryan. Pitch by Bruce, a swing and a miss at a curve, and a throw to second base. Not in time, but Elliott just got back. So Nolan Ryan is out of the ball game after pitching 1 inning, and even though he gave up 4 runs and 4 hits, he looks like quite a prospect. Changeup and a strike on the inside corner of the knees. Nolan Ryan, just 19 years old, very smooth pitching motion, and he throws the ball hard. Elliott on second, the 2-strike delivery. Outside and low, 1-2 on Johnny Lewis. For the Astros, pitching coach Gordon Jones looking on as Danny Coombs and Don Wilson, 2 youngsters, warm up in the bullpen. Foul ball. Johnny Lewis just got a piece of it to stay in there. The Houston bullpen, Coombs is the left-hander, Wilson the right-hander. the runner at second. And the pitch to Johnny Lewis, a swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Bob Bruce comes back strong after Elliott's two-run double. He struck out Jerry Goody and Johnny Lewis. Tried, retired, 2 runs, 3 hits. No errors, 1 left on. At the end of an inning and a half, it's the Houston Astros 4 and the New York Mets 2.
Going to be late for dinner tonight, dear?
Yeah, I've got to go over that Anderson deal with Fred.
Bob Watson is a nice guy with a nice family and with a nice business to support them. Bob Watson's also a good driver. Not the kind of a guy or driver that you'd normally expect to have to watch out for, because normally Bob's mind is on his driving.
I can expect about a 34% discount on all items, which should mean a possible margin of, say, 6%. That's not bad.
But this morning, Bob's mind is on business, and that means at the next stop sign, you could get the business from Bob. Tens of thousands of good drivers make bad mistakes, fatal mistakes every year. One of those mistakes may involve you. Expect the unexpected, whenever, wherever you drive, at intersections and oncoming traffic, even behind you. Always drive defensively. Always watch out for the other guy.
Nolan Ryan leaving the game for a pinch hitter after pitching the first inning. Nolan, in 1 inning, gave up 4 runs, allowed 4 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 3. Brock Davis, the center fielder and leadoff batter, is up against Jack Hamilton, and he takes the low inside, ball 1. Next pitch on the way, a grounder hit down to third, fair ball, fielded by Ken Boyer, and his peg to first is in time to get the speedy Brock Davis. Brock Davis at Oklahoma City this year hit .261. One away and nobody on. That brings up the shortstop, Sonny Jackson. He set a record for stolen bases by a rookie in the National League this year. He now has stolen 44 bases. Now Hamilton out of his windup. The pitch to Jackson, and it's on the outside corner for a strike. Probably Tommy Helms of Cincinnati and Sonny Jackson of the Astros will be the 2 top vote getters in the Rookie of the Year balloting. Check swing bouncer right back to the mound. Hamilton throws to first, 2 down. For Jack Hamilton, this is his 55th game of the year. Jack has saved 13 ball games. His record on the year is 6 wins and 13 losses. Two outs, nobody on. The hitter is Joe Morgan, the second baseman, and the fastball is outside, ball 1. Really hurt the Astros when Joe Morgan was sidelined. Later on, Jimmy Wynn. Wynn is still out. Morgan hitting .291. He let up on it. It was outside, ball 2, 2-0. Houston 4, New York 2. Last of the second inning. First game of a doubleheader. Now the pitch, and he lets go, and it's high, ball 3. Now Joe Morgan checking with Jim Busby, the third base coach, to see how manager Grady Hatton wants him to play it. Defensively, the Mets are straight away. And it's inside, ball 4, and Morgan walks on 4 pitches. Coming on to hit is Chuck Harrison, the first baseman and cleanup batter. Harrison, batting .247, has 8 home runs and 46 runs batted in. Powerfully built right-hand batter. He took over at first base when Jim Gentile was sent to the minors. Gentile later went to Cleveland. Now the breaking ball is a strike on the outside corner. The on-deck batter is Rusty Staub. Slow ground ball down the third base line. Will it stay fair? It's going foul. Boyer picks it up in foul territory. From our broadcast position here in the Astrodome, as you look out over the playing field, the Astro turf, the green carpeting that they play on here in the Astrodome, the synthetic field, It's absolutely beautiful. When football is played here in the Astrodome, they have the strip of carpeting that zippers in to cover what is now the infield dirt. Like Shea Stadium, they have the portable seats that move around to give better viewing position for football. They merely have to roll back several strips of the AstroTurf to make room for the seats to roll out. Now the two-strike pitch, a ground ball hit hard to short. Harrelson grabs it. He throws to second base in time for the force play to Chuck Hiller on the side is out. No runs, no hits, no errors, one left on. Now, at the end of 2 innings, it's the Houston Astros 4 and the New York Mets 2. And the Mets will be back home at Shea Stadium a week from Tuesday night for their final homestand of the year. The last 5 games of the season, the Mets will be playing at home at Shea, 2 games against Chicago, and a weekend series, the last 3 games against the Houston Astros. The Chicago series is Tuesday night, the 27th, and Wednesday afternoon, the 28th. And the Astros series is Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon. 2 weeks, all that remains in the baseball season. And on the last day of the season at Shea Stadium, October 2nd, Sunday afternoon, 2 weeks from today, it will be Fan Appreciation Day. And all youngsters under 16 will receive a replica of the Mets batting helmet, and all those over 16 will receive a handsome gift. While the Mets are closing out this final road trip, tickets are on sale 7 days a week at the advanced sale window at Shea Stadium, as well as in Midtown Manhattan at Macy's and Grand Central Station, and on Long Island at Macy's and the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington. Now the third inning here in the Astrodome, and to detail the action for you, here's Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Bob, and hi there, everyone. Bud Harrelson's the leadoff for the Mets, and the first pitch by Bob Bruce is called a ball. Bud had moved out as though to bunt. Harrelson grounded out to second base his first time up. His average now is 210. He's had 3 triples and has driven in 3 runs. Bruce, a right-hander, back again, and the curveball is called a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets got back in the ballgame in the second when they scored 2 runs off Bob Bruce on 3 hits. The big hit was a double by Larry Elliott. Larry driving in 2 and later on scoring. Later on not scoring as 2 were struck out by Bruce. The pitch back is a changeup called a strike. It's now 1-2 on Bud Harrelson. Now Bruce back again, and this time a swing and a miss, strike 3. And Bruce now has struck out 3 in a row. He has a record this year of 2 wins and 13 losses. And the next batter coming up for the Mets is Chuck Hiller. Chuck grounded down to first his first time up. Left-hand batter hitting .306 with 2 home runs and 13 runs batted in. And he takes the first pitch for called strike. The 2 home runs by Chuck were both as a pinch hitter. One in the last series against the Giants. 1 strike delivery, grounded out toward first base. Coming over is Chuck Harrison. He has the ball, tosses to Bob Bruce for the out. Good play on the part of both Chuck Harrison and Bob Bruce. Today, the Brewers of Rango Beer are pleased to announce the Brass on the Grass, a free concert by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass in the Central Park Sheep Meadow. Central Park West and 66th Street on Wednesday, September 21st at 8 o'clock. But better come early because there's really going to be something doing, right? 2 men away, and Ken Boyer now the batter. Astros lead by a score of 4-2. They scored 4 runs in the first. All the runs coming off starting pitcher Nolan Ryan. Took him 26 minutes to strike out the side, but in between, the Astros scored 4 runs on 4 hits. Jack Hamilton relieved him when Ryan was taken out for a pinch hitter. Boyer grounded down to third. A good play in the ball by Bob Aspromonte, his first time up. Ken brought a 10-game streak into this ball game. First pitch is outside. It's a ball. Now the next pitch called a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Boyer needs a base hit in this ball game to tie the season high for consecutive games with a base hit, held by Cleon Jones and Roy McMillan. They both hit in 11 consecutive ball games. Now the next pitch Ball 2. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Now the 2-1 delivery. Too low, ball 3. And Boyer has the count his way. 3 balls and 1 strike. On deck batter, Al Luplo. Mets are trailing by a score of 4-2. Three balls, 1 strike. Bruce back to Boyer, and the pitch is lined towards second and cut off by Joe Morgan. Line drive, and Joe Morgan with a quick start making a good catch, and the ball to retire the side. So Boyer is turned away for the second time, and that retires the side in order. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings, the Astros 4, the Mets 2. And now here's Bob.
Well, as everybody in New York knows, Rheingold is a beer. In fact, it's New York's #1 beer. But then this summer, Rheingold turned into a music festival. A full-grown 61-concert music festival attended by more than 220,000 people. Now, what does that make Rheingold? Probably New York's #1 music festival. Well, Rheingold is so happy about being New York's #1 this and New York's #1 that it would like to invite the entire city to a free concert by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. It'll be in the Central Park Sheep Meadow, Central Park West at 66th Street on Wednesday, September 21st at 8 o'clock. You better come early because there's really going to be something doing, right?
Right. Going to the bottom half of the third, the Astros with 4 runs in the first, leading by a score of 4-2. Jack Hamilton all set to start his second inning of work. Jack came in the ball game in the second, gave up a walk, allowed no runs and no hits. He'll be pitching to Rusty Staub, Bill Heath, and Bob Aspromani. Rusty struck out his first time up. 1 of 3 struck out by Nolan Ryan in the first inning. Ryan went 3-0 on him, then came back to get him on a 3-2 fastball. First pitch by Hamilton, a fastball at time, that's the ball. Rusty Staub with a fine year going this year, his best ever in the major leagues, batting at .289 with 13 home runs and 79 runs batted in. And the left-hand batter takes high again. This time a breaking ball. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Rusty last year batted .256 for the Astros, and he swings and fouls the next pitch to the left side off the end of the bat. 2 balls, 1 strike. He had 63 home runs and 63 runs batted in and 14 home runs. Next delivery, hit hard, and Boyer comes up with the ball in 1 hop. He gets up off the ground as he had gone to his knees and fires to first base for the out. And that ball was really hit hard. Boyer with a great play on it. It was a do or die. He had 1 shot at it. He made it. Boyer going to his left. This field is exceptionally fast with this AstroTurf. Much faster than anything in baseball. Now with 1 away on the play by Boyer, the batter will be the catcher, Bill Heath, who singled his first time up, bouncing the ball through the middle. A left-hand batter, and he takes the first pitch for a called strike. Pittsburgh scored 2 runs in the top of the first against Gaylord Perry. Giants coming up now against Woody Fryman. Pirates in front 2-0. Now the next delivery in the dirt, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike. Philadelphia out. They did not score off Claude Osteen. Dodgers coming up against Al Jackson. Big games on the coast. Jackson has won 14 and lost 14. Next pitch is fouled away, and the count will stay at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers in first place. They started the action today 2.5 games ahead of the Pirates. Giants in third, 3 back. A swing and a miss, strike 3, and Jack Hamilton gets his first strikeout. Now 2 away, and the batter coming up is Bob Aspromante. Aspromante was called out on strikes his first time up. Bob batting .247 with 8 home runs and 49 runs batted in. And he takes the first pitch. It's called a ball. And Ball 2 on a curveball, too low. 2 balls and no strikes. The Astros lead 4-2 with 2 men out in the bottom half of the third. This game, the first of 2. Tug McGraw is scheduled to pitch the second ball game for the Mets. Dave Justy is scheduled to go against the Mets, pitching for Houston. First game of a 4-game series. Mets playing on Monday night and Tuesday night. Next delivery to Aspermonte is low again. It's ball 3. So Hamilton, 3 balls, no strikes. On deck batter is Norm Miller, the left fielder. 3-0 delivery right through for a strike. 3 balls and 1. And at 3-1, the pitch is high, ball 4. Second walk given up by Hamilton. And with 2 men out, the batter will be Norm Miller. Miller was walked intentionally his first time up to get to Bob Bruce. And it paid off for the Mets as Bob Bruce struck out with runners at first and second. Astros had 4 runs in at the time. And they lead by a score of 4-2. The Mets getting 2 runs back in the top of the second. First pitch to Miller is hit down towards second base. And 1 hopper for Chuck Hiller. He goes to the shortstop covering at second base for the force play, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, a man left on. And the score at the end of 3, Houston 4, the Mets 2. And
here's Bob Pettit, professional basketball star of the St. Louis Hawks, on the subject of physical fitness.
As a professional athlete, I have to stay in shape. No question about it. And that makes me luckier than most, because I've developed a habit of keeping fit. That's going to be important to me when my playing days are over and I go into banking, because there's no question about this either. No matter what line of work you go into, you'll look better, feel better, and work better if you're physically fit.
In space or surgery, nursing or news reporting, the future belongs to the fit, to those vigorous enough to live it and shape it. You parents can help see that the schools do their whole job, preparing your children physically as well as mentally. The President's Council on Physical Fitness will show you how. Write Fitness, Washington, D.C. for information. That's Fitness, Washington, D.C.
Moving to the top of the 4th inning, the Mets coming up, and they need 2 to tie. First batter for the Mets will be the right fielder, Al Luplow. On the mound for the Astros, Bob Bruce. He has given up 2 runs, allowed 3 hits. 2 runs coming in the second. Luplow flied out to center field on his first pitch, his first time up. And he takes the first pitch this time. It's inside. A curveball missing, 4 ball. Lupo, off a fine game yesterday against the Giants, now has 7 home runs with 30 runs batted in, batting .263. Bruce back again with the curve, and this one is in the strike zone. It's called a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Bruce back again, and a changeup is over the inside corner. That puts the count at 1-2. Lupo thought the pitch was inside. Home plate umpires, Mel Steiner. Augie Donatelli is at first base, and Stan Landis at third. Al Barlick is not with this group. He is ill. 1-2 pitch. Rounded foul to the right side. Yogi Berra comes over to make the play. Count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. On deck batter is Eddie Kranepool. He'll be followed by Cleon Jones. And at 1-2, the pitch is swung on and missed, strike 3, and Bob Bruce picks up his 4th strikeout, gets his first out here in the top of the 4th. That brings up Eddie Kranepool, who singled, bouncing the ball through the middle his first time up. Eddie now with 5 hits in his last 6 times up, raising his average to .253. And he takes the first pitch inside. It's the ball. Kranepool with 15 home runs leads the club in that department. He has driven in 54. Ken Boyer leads the club in runs batted in with 61. Bruce with his 1-0 delivery. A changeup, grounded, foul to the right side. Count goes 1 ball, 1 strike. Astros lead 4-2. They have 4 runs on 4 hits. The Mets have 2 runs and 3 hits. 1 out. We're in the top of the 4th. The Astro roster has been filled up with a lot of new names. 1-1 delivery, again a changeup, and this one is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. They have Norm Miller playing in left field, Rock Davis in center field, 2 newcomers. They got names that, well, you'd have to follow the minor leagues mighty closely to recall them. Next pitch is grounded down in the dirt, and that evens the count at 2-2. Some of the newcomers, Jim Ray, Rock Davis, Don Wilson, Ron Davis, Bruce Van Hoff, 2-2 pitch to Kranepool is taken inside and low, and that fills the count to 3-2. On deck is Cleon Jones. Aaron Pointer. And Bob Bruce at 3-2. Kranepool takes it and walks. Pitch was inside. So the Mets have the tying run coming to the plate now with Cleon Jones coming up. While we wait for Cleon to get to the plate, we'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
810 on your radio dial, WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
Ralph Kiner along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from inside here in Houston, Texas. 4-2 game, the Astros lead. And the first pitch to Cleon Jones is a changeup outside. It's ball 1. Cleon singled to the right side, threw into right field his first time up to set up a chance for the Mets to score 2 runs. After the single, Cleon stole second base and scored when Larry Elliott doubled into right center. Elliott, the on-deck batter. Change-up and now fastball and a foul ball. And the count goes to 1-1. At the end of 1, Pittsburgh 2, the Giants nothing. Woody Fryman against Gaylord Perry. Perry still looking for his 21st victory. He has had 7 decisions against him since, make it 5 decisions against him since he turned the corner with a 20-2 record. His record now 20-7. At the end of 1, Philadelphia nothing, the Dodgers nothing. Al Jackson against Claude Osteen. 1-1 pitch is lined to short, taken by Sonny Jackson. The throw to first base is not in time. Chuck Harrison, the first baseman, was walking to the dugout. He thought he had to play at first. But Kranepool got back just ahead of the fine throw by Sonny Jackson, and that ball was a shot taken by Jackson at short. Been some real hard-hit balls hit off Bob Bruce, but he so far has survived and leads by a score of 4-2. Now Larry Elliott comes up. Should correct myself. I think I said Al Jackson. It's Larry Jackson pitching for Philadelphia. First pitch to Elliott is taken high at the ball. Larry doubled his first time up. Elliott started this ball game with 8 hits and 19 times up against the Astros. He now has 9 hits and 20 times up. Swings at a curveball. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Larry has driven in 8 runs against the Astros in his 20 times at bat. And he's hit only 1 home run. He has the best average for the Mets against the Astros this year. And the Mets have their best record going right now against the Astros in their history. Now foul ball to the left side out of play, and the count goes to 1-2. Mets started this ball game with a record of 8 wins in 11 games. Next delivery to Elliott is swung on and missed, strike 3. So Bob Bruce picks up his 5th strikeout, gets Larry Elliott out with Eddie Greenpool on at first base. In the inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, man left on. And the score through 3.5 innings, the Astros 4, the Mets 2.
This is Stuart Queen reporting from Washington. From the rock-lined promontories of New England's coastline, westward across the nation to the prairie country of the American Midwest, to the Great Divide in the Rockies, and westward again to the sequoias of California, this is America, where beauty and nature combine to make up the green lawns of our recreational playgrounds. All this belongs to you and to me. It's part of our heritage, this pride in natural beauty. You can walk the trails of the Appalachians, swim and fish the lakes and streams, and relax in the quiet desert splendor of the great Southwest. These are the glories of this nation's natural beauty. The National Wildlife Federation wants you to learn more about beauty and nature. For free information, write the National Wildlife Federation, Department 44, Washington, D.C. That's the National Wildlife Federation, Department 44, Washington, D.C.
To the bottom half of the 4th inning. The first batter will be Bob Bruce for the Astros. On the mound for the Mets, Jack Hamilton. Jack starting his 3rd inning. He has given up no runs and no hits. Walking 2. Jack in relief of starting pitcher Nolan Ryan, who gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, although he did strike out the side. So Nolan showing good stuff, but not being able to get the ball where he wanted it. First pitch to Bruce has popped up. The third baseman, Ken Boyer, coming down the line, makes the catch about halfway between home and third. One away in the bottom half of the 4th, and now the batter will be Brock Davis. Brock Davis, the first man that Hamilton pitched to when he came in the game in the 2nd, grounded out the 3rd against him. His first time up, he walked, and he takes the first pitch high. It's ball 1. Davis, a left-hand batter. Brock has had 1 hit and 10 times up this year in the major leagues. And his next delivery is a curveball. He looks at it. It's called a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. At Atlanta, the Braves out in front of the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 7-3 after 6. Next delivery, a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cardenas and Harper have hit home runs for Cincinnati. Ken Johnson on the mound for the Braves has so far gone all the way. Sammy Ellis started for Cincinnati. His record was 12-17. Fly ball hit down the right side foul, and the count goes up to 2-2 on Brock Davis. Now pitching for the Reds, Jack Balson. Mets play the Reds over the weekend in Cincinnati, playing Friday night, Saturday night, and a doubleheader on Sunday, and all 4 of those games will come to you on radio and television. Next pitch is inside, and Jack Hamilton now, 3-2 on Brock Davis. On deck batter is Sonny Jackson. After that, the Mets return home to play a 2-game series with the Cubs on Tuesday night and Wednesday, and then a weekend series with Houston to close out the season. Next pitch is way outside. It's ball 4. So Hamilton has walked 1 batter, 3 innings on the mound, and will now pitch to Sonny Jackson with 1 man out. Astros lead 4-2. Jackson chopped a base hit high in the air that Bud Harrelson fielded near the pitcher's mound, but had no chance to throw him out on his first time up. Second time up, grounded out to short. Now a ball out toward the mound. Picked up by Hamilton. The throw to first base is in time. And moving on down to second base on the bunt was Brock Davis. A sacrifice going to Sonny Jackson. And with 2 men out now, Joe Morgan will bat with the runner in scoring position. Jackson, with his base hit in the first inning, has extended his batting streak to 9 consecutive ball games. Jerry Grody talking with Jack Hamilton at the pitcher's mound, now coming back behind home plate to give out the sign. Morgan with a single and a walk in his 2 appearances in this ball game. At the end of 1.5 innings, Philadelphia nothing, the Dodgers nothing. Larry Jackson against Claude Osteen. First pitch to Morgan is called a strike. Morgan singled in the first run of the ball game in the first inning, his first time up. Now he grounds one through the middle. Might be a tough play for Chuck Hiller, and his throw to first base is just in time as Chuck makes a good throw on it from an underhanded position. And that retires the side, and he got a very speedy man, Joe Morgan. No runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, a man left on. And the score at the end of 4. The Astros 4, the Mets 2. And now once again, here's Bob Murphy.
Okay, Ralph, tickets for remaining home games of the New York Mets are on sale 7 days a week at the advanced sale window at Shea Stadium. Daily, except Sunday, in Midtown Manhattan at Macy's 34th Street. The ticket booth is on the Main Street level. Also at Grand Central Station at the foot of the 42nd Street and Vanderbilt Avenue West. On Long Island, the Mets have a ticket booth at Macy's at the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington. Remember, in addition, reservations for box and reserve seats can be made at all Howard Clothes stores during regular store hours and also at any branch of the manufacturer's Hanover Trust Company during banking hours. The Mets have 5 home games remaining, 2 with Chicago, 3 with the Astros. The last day of the season, October 2nd, 2 weeks from today, will be Fan Appreciation Day. Jerry Grody will lead off against Bob Bruce as we move now into the 5th inning. At the end of an inning and a half, Pittsburgh 2, the Giants nothing. At the end of 2, the Phillies nothing, the Dodgers nothing. Now Jerry Grody up, and he fouls the ball back, strike 1. The Dodgers lead Pittsburgh by 2.5, and the Giants by 3. Jerry Grody is 0 for 1. He was struck out his first time up. Outside and low, it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Jerry was warming up a pitcher in the bullpen yesterday in San Francisco, and a ball struck the plate, bounced up, and caught him just above the left eye. Not serious, but it did give Jerry a sleepless night. The 1-1 delivery. Inside, 2 balls and a strike. Pitching 2-1. And it's on the outside corner, 2 balls, 2 strikes. When a ball game is over here in the Astrodome and you leave and walk outside, it's kind of like seeing a movie in the middle of the afternoon in the summer and walking out into that hot summer air. Ground ball hit down the third baseline, foul, no play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out, top of the 5th inning. And the fastball is over, strike 3 call. And Bruce now has chalked up 6 strikeouts. Jack Hamilton will be hitting for the first time. The Brass on the Grass. A free concert by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass will be presented by the Brewers of Rhine Gold Beer in Central Park on Wednesday, September 21. The time is 8 p.m. Now the curve is over for a strike. Those of you planning to attend, enter the park at 66th Street and Central Park West. Just continue on to the Sheep Meadow. One ball, 1 strike on Jack Hamilton. Next pitch on the way, a swing and a miss at a curve, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Mets scored their 2 runs in the 2nd inning off Bob Bruce. On singles by Eddie Cranepool and Cleon Jones. And a double to right center by Larry Elliott driving the runs in. Baltimore chop back to the mound, grabbed by Bruce. He pegs to Harrison, 2 men down. Since the double by Larry Elliott that knocked 2 runs in, Bruce has settled down to retire 10 of 11 hitters. He has not given up a base hit since Larry Elliott's double. 2 outs and nobody on. Bud Harrelson, the leadoff batter. Hitting for the third time, Bud has bounced out and struck out. And he bluffed at the bunt. The pitch is over. Strike one called. This is the only doubleheader being played in the Astrodome all season. A swing and a miss on a changeup, and it's strike two. They had one doubleheader all last year. Mets play a lot of doubleheaders. 2-strike delivery. A grounder hit foul over toward the visiting dugout. No play. Bob Bruce winding, and the pitch to Harrelson. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. He got him with a curveball. And that is the 7th strikeout for Bob Bruce. He has fanned 7 in 5 innings. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left on. So we've come halfway in the first game of today's doubleheader. At the end of 4 1/2, the Houston Astros 4, the New York Mets 2.
This is Captain Cornell. Years ago, a chance meeting on a train with Helen Keller led to my cherished friendship with her. Through Miss Keller, I became active in the American Foundation for the Blind, and am proud to serve on its board of trustees. I'd like to tell you about some of its wonderful services. The Foundation, in cooperation with the Library of Congress, records the talking books, available with a phonograph, free on loan to any legally blind person. The Foundation manufactures and adapts more than 300 aids and appliances for blind people, from clocks and watches with raised markings to tools, kitchen utensils, canes, and crossword puzzles. It also issues identification cards so blind persons may travel on most railroads and bus lines with a sighted companion, both for one fare. For more information, write to the American Foundation for the Blind, Box 111, New York 11, New York.
Last of the 5th inning, Chuck Harrison leading it off against Jack Hamilton, takes low outside, ball 1. Jack Hamilton took over in the 2nd inning. Nolan Ryan was reached for 4 runs and 4 hits in the opening inning. It's under the knees, 2 balls and no strikes. First baseman Chuck Harrison, the cleanup batter, doubled off the left field barrier, driving home a run in the 1st inning. He lined out. The second baseman Chuck Hiller, his 2nd time up. A check swing, slow roller beyond the reach of Hamilton. Hiller racing in, throws. He got him. Chuck Hiller had to race in, pick the ball up, and whip it sidearm across the crane pool. And on a close play, Harrison is out. He didn't mean to hit that one. He checked up and hit a real slow roller. Now Rusty Staub, the batter. Rusty has struck out and been thrown out on a brilliant play by Ken Boyer. It's inside and low, ball 1. Final score in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Atlanta Falcons 23-10. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Detroit Lions 17-3. The Green Bay Packers came from behind in the last quarter to nip the Cleveland Browns 21-20. A foul fly hit down the left field line, no play. And the St. Louis Cardinals defeated the Washington Redskins 23-7. Those are the finals then in the NFL right now. Also in the NFL, at the end of the 3rd quarter, the Baltimore Colts have come from behind, and they now lead the Minnesota Vikings 24-16 at the end of the 3rd quarter. The Dallas Cowboys lead the New York Giants 7-0 at the end of the 1st quarter. Fastball taken high by Rusty Staub. In the AFL, the New York Jets routed the Houston Oilers 52-13. And the defending champion Buffalo Bills put it all together. They beat the new Miami Dolphins 58-24. Inside and low, it's 3-1. Final score in the National League, the Chicago Cubs nipped the St. Louis Cardinals today 3-2. The big hit was a 2-run homer by Ernie Banks. Ground ball down to first, fielded by Cranepool. Hamilton comes over to cover, and Staub is out, 2 men down. In the Chicago Cubs-St. Louis Cardinal game, the Cubs win it. 3 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. Cardinals 2-8-2. The winner, Dick Ellsworth, his 7th win. He's lost 21. The loser in relief of Larry Jaster was Ron Pache. On the West Coast, the Pirates 2, the Giants nothing at the end of 2. The Phillies nothing, the Dodgers nothing at the end of 2. The Braves lead Cincinnati 7-3 at the end of 6.5. Three-way battle going now for 4th place in the National League. It's taken high by Bill Heath, ball 1. Fastball, a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bob Allison of Minnesota has hit a 3-run homer in the 10th inning to break the deadlock with the Yankees. Twins now leading at least 5-2 in the top of the 10th inning. Now 2-1 on Bill Heath. Cleveland 5, Detroit 2 there in the last of the 8th at Detroit. The A's beat Washington 3-0 in the suspended game. The second game is scoreless at the end of 7. California leading the Red Sox 4-3 there in the last of the 8th. Now Hamilton winds, and his fastball misses inside the high. The count goes to 3-1. They're in the 9th inning at Baltimore with the White Sox leading the Orioles 4-3. Right here it's Houston 4, the New York Mets 2. A ground ball bounced to shortstop, fielded by Bud Harrelson. He pegs it across the crane pool. The side is out. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left on. 5 innings complete. The Houston Astros 4 and the New York Mets 2. Now the ground crew coming out to manicure the diamond for the last 4 innings of this opening ball game of a doubleheader. The final day of the season for the New York Mets is 2 weeks from today, Sunday, October 2nd, and that day has been designated by the Mets as Fan Appreciation Day at Shea Stadium. On this day, all youngsters 16 and under receive, upon entering the stadium, a replica of the Mets batting helmet, good-looking helmet. And as for the fans over 16, they won't be forgotten. They, too, will receive a handsome gift. That's 2 weeks from today, October 2nd, the last day of the season. The next day, Art Friedman goes fishing and starts resting up. In the 6th inning, Chuck Hiller will lead off against Bob Bruce. While the ground crew is manicuring the infield, on the message board where they can show comedy skits and various things, they have a fellow dressed up like a member of the ground crew doing the Watusi and the Proof and that sort of thing. Chuck Hiller leading off against Bruce in the 6th inning. Chuck is 0 for 2 this afternoon. Hiller is hitting .304. Here's the pitch by Bruce. And the breaking ball is taken low, ball 1. He has retired 11 of the last 12 hitters. The last base hit was the 2-run double by Elliott in the 2nd inning. There's a drive in the air to center field. Moving back is Brock Davis, and he one-hands it. Ball fooled Brock at the last moment, and he had to make a one-hand grab. 1 out and nobody on. Ken Boyer, the hitter. Boyer has grounded out to 3rd and lined out to 2nd, nothing for 2. Bob Bruce winds the pitch to Kenny, a foul ball back into the screen, no play. Looks like the Astros and the Mets will wind up just about the same in home attendance this year. The Mets are slightly ahead at the moment. Both have had marvelous years attendance-wise. And it's in at the knees for a called strike on Ken Boyer, a 2-strike count. Houston in front, 4-2. Here's the pitch to Kenny Boyer, and the curve is over. Strike 3 called. Bruce now is working with 10-point control. That is his 8th strikeout of the game. He has walked only one man. That was Eddie Cranepool on 3 and 2 in the 4th inning. He now has fanned 8. Al Luplow batting for the 3rd time. Al has flied to center and struck out. Batting at 263. Left-hand hitter. And the changeup is over, strike 1. Bruce with absolute 10-point control right now of all of his pitches. One ball and 1 strike. Bob Shaw and Jack Fisher will pitch the final 2 games of this series. It is inside and low, 2 balls and a strike on Al Luplow. Bob Bruce, veteran right-hander, winds and pitches and misses inside of the letters, ball 3. So it's 3 and 1 on Al Luplow. Yogi Berra coaching at first, Whitey Herzog at third. Pitching 3 and 1. And it's low, ball 4. And Luplow reaches on a walk, the second walk given up by Bruce. Eddie Cranepool has singled to center and reached on a walk. Eddie has 5 hits in his last 6 times at bat, raising his average to 253. And Danny Coombs, a young left-hander, is walking now down toward the bullpen to start warming up. Carol Simbera, a right-hander, will also start getting ready. And the pitch taken inside, ball 1. Mets trail by 2. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Next pitch on the way, and it's under the knees, and just very suddenly the plate has started to move around on Bruce a little bit. The big right-hander from Michigan has not given up a base hit since the 2nd inning when Elliott doubled to right center, driving home Eddie Cranepool and Cleon Jones. And now Danny Coombs, a left-hander, and Carol Simbera, a right-hander, are warming up for Houston. Down comes the pitch. And it's a pop foul hit down the left field line. In pursuit is Aspermani, but it's no play. It lands in the field boxes. Balls and a strike on Eddie Cranepool. Pitch by Bruce. A foul ball back toward the Houston dugout. No play, so the count levels now 2 and 2. Game being played on the synthetic turf. They call it the AstroTurf, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Ball really travels rapidly when it goes across that turf. Now the 2-2 delivery, and it's over. Strike 3 call. Cranepool caught looking. And Eddie didn't like the call at all. That is the 9th strikeout for Bob Bruce. In the 6th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. At the end of 5.5 innings, first game of a doubleheader, the Astros 4, the New York Mets 2. And now here's a word from Rheingold.
I'm the extra dry. I don't know the reason. I can't tell you why. More people like Rheingold beer extra dry. But we must be doing something. Yes, we must be doing something right. Yes, we must be doing something. Woo! We must be doing something right. Pour me another mug of that Rheingold exercise here. Woo! Yes, we must be doing something. Woo! We must be doing
of the sixth, Bob Asperani hits a line drive into left field for a base hit. Elliott plays it on the skip, fires it back to the infield, and Asperani singles leading off the last of the sixth inning. And that is the first base hit given up by Jack Hamilton. Hamilton took over the pitching in the second inning. And that is the first hit surrendered by Hamilton. Norm Miller, the left fielder, left-hand hitter, stepping in. And now Boyer shortens up to guard against the possibility of the bunt. The pitcher is due up next. And the pitch is high, ball one. And for the Astros, their ace reliever, Claude Raymond, is throwing easily in the bullpen down the right field line. Now Hamilton in the set position. Delivers. Foul tip. No play. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Darrell Sutherland and Rob Gardner are going to start warming up for New York. Bob Shaw pitches tomorrow night and Jack Fisher on Tuesday night. Here's the 1-1 pitch. He tries to bunt and misses. Grody bluffs the throw to first base. Norm Miller trying to lay down a high hard one, but he couldn't get it. Now Hamilton checks his runner, delivers to the plate. A line drive into center, a base hit. Asperani around second, heading holds up there as Jones slips the ball back in. And the Astros have back-to-back singles. And right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
810 on your radio dial. WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from the Astrodome in Houston. The Astros threatening here in the bottom half of the sixth inning. They have runners on first and second, nobody out. Jack Hamilton had hurled 4 hitless innings in relief, but now has given up back-to-back singles at the start of the last of the sixth inning. So the hitter is Bob Bruce, and now the Mets defense against the bunt. Bruce has been called out and popped to third, nothing for 2. And now Wes Westrom is on his way to the mound. He has Darrell Sutherland and Rob Gardner warming in the bullpen. Wes Westrom on the mound talking with Jack Hamilton and Jerry Grody. On the message board with Hamilton on the mound, Bill Giles, the public relations director who operates the big message board, just put up a message that says, "My spitter never works." They have been censored a number of times for some of the messages that have been put up on that board. Well, this is going to be it for Jack Hamilton. He's coming out of the ballgame. And Rob Gardner is coming in. Brock Davis, a left-hand batter, and Sonny Jackson, a left-hand batter, follow Bob Bruce in the batting order, and so Wes is going to the left-hander, Rob Gardner. The last time the Mets were here in Houston, Rob Gardner turned in one of his finest relief stints of the year. He saved the game for Bob Shaw. He worked 4 innings. He allowed no runs and no hits. Walked 1 and struck out 2, and so Wes, remembering that superb job in relief by Gardner here in the Astrodome, is calling him out once again. Rob has won 4 and lost 7. This will be his 40th ball game of the year. Jack Hamilton worked 4 innings. At the moment has allowed no runs, given up 2 hits. He walked 3. The walks were scattered. 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. And he struck out 1. So now Rob Gardner takes over in the 6th inning. In the National League, at the end of 2.5, it's Pittsburgh 2, San Francisco nothing. Woody Fryman pitching against Gaylord Perry. Chicago down St. Louis 3-2. Ellsworth the winner. Pache was the loser. Ernie Banks hit a 2-run homer. The Cubs will be at Shea Stadium on Tuesday night the 27th and Wednesday afternoon the 28th. And the Atlanta Braves are leading Cincinnati 8-3 after 7.5. In the third inning at Dodger Stadium, Bill Singer has relieved Claude Osteen, indicating the Phillies may be scoring runs against the Dodgers. No score at the end of 2 innings. Now we resume play, and they look for the bunt. Bunted down the third base line. Boyer has to handle it. The play to first is in time, and the runners move along. A good bunt by Bruce to advance the runner. Ron Davis is coming out as a pinch batter now for Brock Davis. So Ron Davis will hit for Brock Davis. As Grady Hatton now goes percentages. At Dodger Stadium, the Phillies scored 4 runs in chasing Claude Osteen in the top of the third. And so the race may be tightening up. At the end of 2.5, it's the Phillies 4 and the Dodgers nothing. And now with first base open, the pinch hitter, right-hand batter Ron Davis, will be intentionally walked. And on the message board, they flash chicken. They have a lot of fun putting up the barbs and the insults on that message board here in the Astrodome. So the intentional walk to Ron Davis, and now the bases are loaded, 1 out. The batter coming up is Sonny Jackson. Jackson has had a great rookie year. He's hitting at .292. He has stolen 44 bases for a new rookie record. Rob Gardner on in relief. The Astros have the bases loaded, 1 out. The lead runner is Bob Aspermonte. Norm Miller is on second. Ron Davis on first. Now the pitch. And the curve is high. 1 ball and no strikes. The windup by Gardner. Down comes his pitch inside and low, and he goes behind on the count. 2 balls and no strikes. Darrell Sutherland is continuing to stay warm in the bullpen. Now Rob working at a disadvantage. He's behind 2-0. Here's his pitch on the way. Foul ball cut back toward the press box. No play. Two balls and a strike on Sonny Jackson. Jackson has 1 for 2 and a sacrifice in this game. He reached on an infield hit, a Baltimore chop in the first, and later scored. The Astros leading 4-2. They scored their 4 runs in the first inning. The 2-1 pitch. It's under the knees, ball 3. Now Rob Gardner has no place to put Sonny Jackson. Aspermonte leads off third. Down comes the pitch. A foul ball into the crowd, 3-2. Second baseman Joe Morgan is the on-deck batter. Let's have the infield in against the speed of Sonny Jackson, playing halfway. And the outfield playing Jackson to hit the ball to the opposite field. So now with the bases jammed and 1 out, it's 3-2 on Jackson. Gardner looks the runner back at third. Here's the pitch, and he walked it. Curve missed outside for ball 4 to force in a run. Aspermonte comes in to score. A run batted in for Sonny Jackson. His 25th, and now the batter is Joe Morgan, the number 3 hitter in the lineup. Inside and high, ball 1. Jerry Grody going slowly to the mound now to talk to Rob Gardner. Houston now leading 5-2. The lead runner on third is Norm Miller. Ron Davis, who drew an intentional walk, is on second. And Sonny Jackson is on first. Gardner out of his windup. The pitch, a swing and a miss. Morgan really gave that one a rip. 1 ball and 1 strike. Joe Morgan hitting .291. The 1-1 delivery, and a curve is over for a call strike. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitching 1 and 2. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. Gardner strikes out Joe Morgan. Now there are 2 away, and Chuck Harrison, the first baseman and cleanup batter, a right-hand hitter, is coming up. And that brings Wes Westrom out of the dugout, and Darrell Sutherland, the right-hander, will be brought in to pitch to him. Darrell Sutherland came so close to winning 2 games in 2 days against the Giants. The Mets were leading the Giants with 2 outs with nobody on in the last of the 9th inning yesterday, and the Giants pulled it out. Had the Mets wanted it, would have been Sutherland's victory. So while the pitching change is being made, let's check with Lindsay and get updated on the other scores.
All right, Bob, at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California, going to the top half of the 5th inning, the Pittsburgh Pirates 2 and the San Francisco Giants nothing. Bryman against Gaylord Perry. The Chicago Cubs defeated the Cardinals by a score of 3-2 as Dick Ellsworth got the win. And Ron Fichet took the loss in relief. Ernie Banks had a 2-run homer. Going to the bottom half of the 8th inning, the Atlanta Braves 7 and the Cincinnati Reds 4. It is Darrell Osteen in relief now against Ken Johnson. Cardenas and Harper have had Cincinnati home runs, and Joe Torre has hit one now in the 8th inning for Atlanta to make it the Atlanta Braves 9 and Cincinnati 3. Going to the bottom half of the 3rd inning, the Philadelphia Phillies 4 and the Los Angeles Dodgers nothing. Larry Jackson against Claude Osteen, Bill Singer in the 3rd inning now for the Dodgers. Over in the American League, the Baltimore Orioles on top were knocked off again today as the Chicago White Sox defeated them by a score of 4-3. Bruce Howard got the win. Wally Baca took the loss. California Angels beat Boston 5-3. Rubio the winner and Lonborg loser. Paul Shaw and Ryan had homers. In the first game of a doubleheader, Kansas City 3, Washington nothing. As Lou Krause got the win, Jim Allen took the loss. The second game is going to the bottom of the 9th, no score. Jim Odom against Phil Ortega. The Minnesota Twins beat the New York Yankees by a score of 5-3. Al Runup, the loser in relief. Pete Semino got the win. Allison and Bryan had a home run. And going to the bottom half of the 9th inning, it is Cleveland 5, Detroit 5. Play again, and here's Bob Murphy.
Darrell Sutherland delivers, and a curve is on the outside corner to Chuck Harrison, strike 1. First baseman Chuck Harrison doubled a run home in the 1st inning. Since then, he has hit into a force play and grounded out. 1 for 3 and an RBI. A solidly built right-hand batter bends from the waist. And he swings at a curve and misses, strike 2. For the Astros, Norm Miller is on third, Ron Davis on second, Sonny Jackson on first, 2 men away. 1 run is in, and they lead 5-2. Now the tall, slender right-hander from California, Darrell Sutherland, delivers. Just misses the outside corner, 1-2. Billy Hepler warming up now in the Mets bullpen. Jerry Grody setting up the target. Swung on, foul tip. He stays alive. He just got a piece of it. Next pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. Darrell Sutherland strikes out Chuck Harrison to leave the bases stranded. Full. So the Astros in the 6th inning score 1 run. There were 2 hits, no errors, and 3 left on. The run that came in as the result of a walk with the bases loaded. At the end of 6 innings, the score, the Houston Astros 5 and the New York Mets 2.
Just jazz. However you enjoy your kicks and jazz, we feel certain that you'll get your fill on the weekly program Just Jazz, heard over WGY. The program is heard usually on Tuesdays from 8 to 11 in the evening. But during the Mets baseball season, the show is heard on other nights of the week. In any case, Just Jazz is heard one night each week. Suggestion: send your name and address to Just Jazz Schedule, care of WGY in Schenectady, New York. And by return mail, you'll have the listings of each of the Just Jazz programs throughout the summer. This is Randy English. Be advised, it's cool, it swings, it's for you, and it's Just Jazz, here at 8:10 on your radio dial. Over WGY in Schenectady.
The New York Mets come up here in the top half of the 7th inning now, trailing by 3 runs, and it's Cleon Jones to lead off. He is 1 for 2 and has stolen a base and scored a run in today's ball game. Bob Bruce, who started, has been in all the way, still there on the mound for the Houston Astros. This is the first game of a doubleheader. Right-hand batter facing a right-hand pitcher here. As Bruce delivers, and it's in for a called strike. Larry Elliott is waiting on deck for the New York Mets. Houston got 4 runs in the bottom half of the first inning here this afternoon off 19-year-old right-hander Nolan Ryan, making his first major league start for the Mets. The Mets came back to get 2 in the top of the second off Bruce. Houston got 1 in the bottom of the 6th, and that's all the scoring. Here's a slow curveball swung on and missed. 2 strikes to Cleon Jones. The National Football League, the Baltimore Colts bounced back to defeat the Minnesota Vikings 38-23. Bruce reading the sign of his catcher, Bill Heath. This pitch is low for a ball. It's 1-2. The end of the first half in the National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys 31 and the New York Giants 7. 1-2 pitch. Swung it on the ground towards second. Joe Morgan over backhands the ball, throws to first, and in time to get Cleon. A backhand saddle, the hard smash by Morgan at second, and he gets a hand. Larry Elliott's coming up. He singled to drive in 2 Met runs in the top half of the second. He struck out swinging in the 4th. The American Football League at the end of the first quarter. Kansas City Chiefs 10 and the Oakland Raiders 7. Pitch is taken in there for a call strike by Elliott. The American Football League at the end of the half. The Denver Broncos 10 and the Boston Patriots 9. Pitch is swung on, lined into center for a base hit. Taken out there by Ron Davis, who stayed in the ball game in center field. And Elliott's on at first with Jerry Grody coming up. Hey, you've got a treat in store. Anytime you say, "Pack of Viceroy, please," right about then, you're going to discover this happy fact. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Right any time of the day. Now Grody waits as Bob Bruce delivers, and the pitch is high for a ball. Mets batting with 1 man out and a runner at first. Claude Raymond gets up to throw along with Danny Coombs in the bullpen for the Houston Astros once again. Bill Hepler is still throwing in the bullpen for the New York Mets. The count is ball 1 and no strikes to right-hand batter Jerry Grody at the plate. Here is a pitch that's high for a ball. Grody bats number 8 in the Met batting order. Darrell Sutherland's kneeling on deck. Here is the final score in the American League. Second game of a doubleheader. Washington 1, Kansas City 0. Kansas City won the first game by a score of 3-0. The Yankees and the Washington Senators started the day in a tie for last place in the American League standings. Here's a pitch in for a call strike. So the Yankees lost their game and the Washington Senators split. Count of 2 balls and 1 strike to Grody at the plate. Swinging a high pop to the right side. Chuck Harrison, the first baseman there, makes the catch. Elliott on the bag at first, 2 away. Sutherland is coming back to the dugout. Manager Wes Westrom is going to his bench once again. Ron Swoboda is hanging around the bat rack there. Bill Heath, the Houston catcher, takes advantage of this opportunity to go out and have a word with Bob Bruce. And here comes Swoboda out to bat for Sutherland. So Sutherland faced only one man. Chuck Harrison with the bases loaded and struck him out. So he is credited with the third of an inning. No runs, no hits, struck out 1 and walked none. Bill Hepler, the left-hander, throwing in the bullpen. Left-handed Danny Coombs, right-handed Claude Raymond, throwing in the bullpen for the Houston Astros. Ron Swoboda is hitting .234 for the season. Make that .224. He has 8 home runs and 48 runs batted in. At Candlestick Park in San Francisco, the Pirates got another run in the top half of the 5th inning. So going to the bottom of the 5th, it is the Pirates 3, the Giants nothing. Woody Fryman against Gaylord Perry. Perry with a record of 20 wins and 7 losses came into today's game having lost 5 in a row. Pitch to Swoboda, breaks low and away for a ball. Going to the 4th inning at Dodger Stadium, it is the Phillies 4 and the Dodgers nothing. Bill Singer now pitching for the Dodgers in relief of Claude Osteen, and Larry Jackson still in for the Phils. This pitch is inside to Swoboda. 2-0 to him. Leadoff man Bud Harrelson waiting on deck. The Astros 5 and the Mets 2 in the top half of the 7th inning. 2-0 pitches it on the ground to short. Taken there by Jackson. Shoveled over to Morgan for the force that retires the side. As the Mets are out with no runs, 1 hit, nor 1 left to score at the end of 6 1/2 innings is Houston 5, the Mets 2. Now, here's a word from Rheingold.
Don't know the reason, we can't tell you why. For people like Rheingold, the beer extra dry. But we must be doing something. Yes, we must be doing something right.
Bill Hepler comes in to do the pitching for the New York Mets. He is making his 36th appearance of the year. He has won 3 and lost 3. Last time out, he worked against the Atlanta Braves for 2 innings in which he gave up 1 run on 2 hits. Hepler is the 5th Met pitcher in this ball game. He will be facing left-hand batter Rusty Staub, who is nothing for 3. Rusty Staub, the right fielder for the Houston Astros, hitting .288. He's had a fine year. 13 homers, 79 runs batted down. Hepler reads the sign of catcher Jerry Grody. And the pitch is lined into right field for a base hit. So the Astros quickly get a base runner. Catcher Bill Heath is coming up. Here's a final in the National League. The Atlanta Braves 9, the Cincinnati Reds 4. Those Atlanta Braves are red hot. Ken Johnson got the win, his 14th. Shishi Olivo relieved him in the 9th. Ted Davidson, left-hander, took the loss in relief. Joe Torre had an Atlanta homer. Tommy Harper and Leo Cardenas had Cincinnati homers. Earlier, the Chicago Cubs beat the St. Louis Cardinals 3-2. Here's a pitch, and it's a curveball high. He's squared around his throw to bunt. Boyer coming in from third. It's out of the strike zone, ball 1. In the second game of today's doubleheader, Tug McGraw will pitch for the New York Mets against Dave Justy, an alumnus of Syracuse University who will be working for Houston. Swinging a drive in the air to left. Elliott coming on, can't get it. He one-hops the ball, lays it back. Moving to second is Rusty Staub, and Bill Heath is on with a single to left field. Now Aspromonte is the batter. Runners at first and second, nobody out. Houston leading 5-2. Reads the sign of Jerry Grody as Houston runners lead at first and second. The pitch to Aspromonte. Fastball inside at the belt buckle for ball one. The temperature inside the Astrodome here is a constant 72 degrees. Pitch is low for a ball. Now the electronic cheerleader in center field, the screen there shows a pair of massive hands clapping together. And so responsively the fans here began to applaud. And as the hands stop, they stop. 2-0 pitches hit on the ground through the hole in the left for a base hit. Rusty Staub rounds third. He's coming home. The ball's bobbled by Elliott. Now the play at third. Not in time. Throw to second, and he is safe at second as the ball is dropped. A run scored. There are runners at second and third. Aspromonte laced that ball into left field. Rusty Staub rounded third and came home. Elliott overran the ball briefly, picked it up and fired it into third. Not in time to get Bill Heath fighting in there. Boyer then wheeled and fired to second as Aspromonte slid in. Chuck Hiller dropped the ball there, make it a double and a run batted in. Norm Miller is scheduled up here, the left fielder for the Astros. Now the scoring is being changed, and an error is charged against Chuck Hiller on the play at second on Aspromonte. Pointer is coming up now to bat for Norm Miller. Aaron Pointer, Pointer, an outfielder by trade. He bats for Norm Miller. He's a right-hand batter. Runners at second and third, and nobody out. Breaking pitch inside for a ball. Houston leading by a score of 6-2. Dick Selma gets up to throw in the Met bullpen. And a miss. 1-1. Bill Heath, the runner at third. Bob Aspromonte is the runner at second base. Mets playing it infield end. Try to cut off the run at the plate. Check swing ground ball over to the Houston dugout. Aaron Pointer was checking back. Fouled it off out of play. Bill Hepler with a 1-2 pitch to Pointer. High for a ball. It's 2-2. Pitcher Bob Bruce is scheduled up next. There is no one in the on-deck circle. Now the 2-2 offering. Curveball high. So the count goes out full to Aaron Pointer at 3-2. At Oklahoma City, Pointer hit .277. He had 10 home runs and 61 runs batted in, and he stole 13 bases. He's from Oakland, California. Pitch is high for a ball, and Hepler walks corner. The bases are loaded. With nobody out, and Bob Bruce, the pitcher, coming up. He's peeling off the jacket at this moment. And as he does, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
810 on your radio dial. WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where in the first game of a doubleheader, the Astros are leading the Mets 6-2. Houston batting. Bottom of the seventh, bases loaded, nobody out. Bob Bruce up, hits the ground ball, he's short. Here's the play at the plate, forced, and he is out. No relay. Bases are still loaded with one man out. As Harrelson scooped the ball up, fired it into Grody. The fourth play there, of course. Still, he's sliding in, but he is out. They're still loaded, and leadoff man, Ron Davis, is coming up. Play went 6-2. Bob Astromonte moves to third. Aaron Pointer is at second, and Bob Bruce is getting a jacket. And he's coming all the way to the dugout to get it, as Coach Ellie Fox was trying to assist him, but had the wrong one. Now Ron Davis is coming up. He's been up one time previously in this game, and he drew an intentional walk. Right-hand batter settles himself in. Houston 6, Mets 2, first game of the doubleheader. Bill Hepler's pitch breaks inside for a ball. What the Mets would like to get here is a ground ball to try for two. They have Chuck Hiller and Harrelson playing a double play depth with the bases loaded and one man out. Outside for a ball. 2-0. Dick Selma continues to throw in the Met bullpen. Here's a 2-0 delivery. Swung on it on the ground, and it is a fair ball down the third baseline. One run is scored. 2 runs are scored. Elliott chasing the ball in the left field corner. Bob Bruce holds it third. Ron Davis is on at second with a double to left. 2 runs batted in. Houston 8 and the Mets 2. That ball was slammed between Boyer and the bag at third. Boyer tried to get him to backhand it, but it took a high hop off the AstroTurf, far beyond the reach of his glove. He had no chance, and it was a fair ball by about a foot as it continued down the left field line to the corner. Sonny Jackson's up, batting left, runners at second and third. Mets bring the infield back in, curveball, and it's in there for a called strike. Still one man out, a double and 2 runs batted in for Ron Davis. That moved Bob Bruce to third. Houston 8 runs on 10 hits. The Mets 2 runs on 4 hits. Fastball, and it's in for a called strike 2. Joe Morgan waiting on deck with Sonny Jackson batting for Houston here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Now Bill Hepler with a 2-strike delivery. Swung on it on the ground to second, taken by Hiller. Looks the runner, throws to first. He's out, no advance. So Jackson has grounded out. Hiller to Cranepool. Runners holding second and third. The runner third is the pitcher Bob Bruce. And at second, it's Ron Davis. And now Joe Morgan's coming up. Morgan singled a drive and a run, walked, grounded out second to first, and struck out swinging. Now Morgan steps back out of the batter's box for a moment. Pitch is sliced into left for a base hit. Bruce scores. Davis is coming to the plate. Here's the throw, and at the plate, he is out at the plate. As Grody took the ball on the fly from Elliott.
And Lunch to make the tag on Davis at the plate. So 1 run scored there with Bob Bruce crossing the plate. A single and a run batted in for Joe Morgan. And then Ron Davis goes out 7-2 if you're scoring. The Astros in the inning picking up a total of 4 runs on 5 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left. And the score at the end of 7 full innings is the Astros 9 and the Mets 2. Now let's check out scores of other games all around the Major League. At Candlestick Park in San Francisco, going to the 7th inning, the Pittsburgh Pirates 3 and the San Francisco Giants nothing. Woody Fireman against Gaylord Perry. At Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, going to the top half of the 5th inning, the Phillies 4, the Dodgers nothing. Larry Jackson against Claude Osteen, Bill Singer in the 3rd inning. The Atlanta Braves defeated the Cincinnati Reds 9-4. Ken Johnson got the win with help from Shishu Oliva in the 9th. Ted Davidson took the loss in relief. Leo Cardenas, Tommy Harper, and Joe Torre had home runs. The Chicago Cubs beat the St. Louis Cardinals 3-2. Dick Ellsworth over Ron Fichet, Ernie Banks had a home run. In the American League, going to the bottom half of the 10th inning, it is the Cleveland Indians 6 and the Detroit Tigers 5. John O'Donohue against Larry Sherry, both in relief. Cavallillo and Cash have had home runs. The Minnesota Twins defeated the New York Yankees 5-3. As Pete Semino got the win, Hal Renniff took the loss. Allison and Bryan had home runs. That one went 10 innings. Kansas City and Washington split a pair. Kansas City won the first 3-0. Krause over Hannon. Washington won the second 1-0. Ortega over Odom. California beat Boston 5-3. As Rubio got the win, Lonborg took the loss. Paul Shaw and Ryan had homers. And the White Sox beat the league-leading Baltimore Orioles 4-3. Bruce Howard beat Wally Bunker. Changes now. Pointer. Aaron Pointer stays in the ball game in left field. And Bob Lillis comes in to play shortstop for the Houston Astros. So Pointer bats number 8 in the batting order. Since Bob Bruce, the pitcher, stays in the ball game, put Lillis, number 2 in the batting order, in place of Sonny Jackson. It'll be leadoff man Bud Harrelson up for the Mets here in the top of the 8th, with Houston leading 9-2. First game of a doubleheader. The American Football League this afternoon, the New York Jets rolled over the Houston Oilers 52-13 at Shea Stadium in New York. Buffalo Bisons beat the Miami Dolphins 58-24. The end of the half, the Denver Broncos 10 and the Boston Patriots 9. At the end of the quarter, Kansas City Chiefs 10, the Oakland Raiders 7. The National Football League, the end of the half, the Dallas Cowboys 31 and the New York Giants 7. All others are finals. The Eagles 23 and the Atlanta Falcons 10. Baltimore Colts 38, the Minnesota Twins 23. Here's a pitch inside for a ball. The Pittsburgh Steelers 17, the Detroit Lions 3, the Green Bay Packers 21, the Cleveland Browns 20, St. Louis Cardinals 23, the Washington Redskins 7. Here is a pitch to Harrelson, low on both pitches. He is shortened up as though to bunt the ball. In the second game of the doubleheader, Tug McGraw against Dave Justy. We will, of course, be broadcasting the second game as well. Here's a pitch in for a called strike. 2-1. We'll have a brief intermission between games, and then we'll be broadcasting play-by-play of the second game of today's doubleheader here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. 2-1 pitch. Bunted on and missed. It's 2-2. Chuck Hiller waiting in the on-deck circle for the Mets as Bob Bruce delivers to Harrelson high, and the count goes full at 3-2. In doubleheader competition this year, the Mets have won both ends of twin bills on 5 occasions. They have lost both ends on 4 occasions, and they have split 11 doubleheaders. There's a pitch swung on it in the air to left, and right there is Aaron Pointer. Almost misjudged it and moved in a few steps to make the catch at knee level. One away, Chuck Hiller coming up. This is the 21st doubleheader played by the New York Mets this season. It is the first doubleheader played at the Astrodome this season. To this point, the Mets have outdrawn the Houston Astros by about 100,000. Here's a pitch inside.
to Hiller with one man out, nobody on base. Right-handed Bob Bruce with a pitch that's hit on the ground up the middle and over his shortstop Lillis. He fires on in time. Lillis ranging behind the bag at second to glove the ball and fire it on the run. 2 away, and that brings up Mets third baseman Ken Boyer. Grounded out, lined out, struck out. The Mets will be here again on Monday night and Tuesday night. Then they move on to Cincinnati to take on the Cincinnati Reds on Friday night, Saturday night, and a doubleheader on Sunday. High and tight for a ball. Now Luplo's on deck. After the Cincinnati series, the Mets will be coming home to Shea Stadium to take on the Chicago Cubs on Tuesday night, September 27th, and Wednesday afternoon, September 28th. And then the Astros on the final weekend of the season in New York. The 30th of September, a night game. The 1st of October, a night game. And Sunday afternoon, October 2nd, to end the season. 1-1, the count now to Boyer. Let up, and it's in for a called strike. 1-2. Bob Bruce is extremely effective in changing speed. You tear up a slow curveball, drop in a change of pace off the fastball, which is not an extremely effective pitch of his. He has a good slider. The 1-2 delivery now. Swung on and foul back out of play, and the count holds 1-2. Starting play today in the National League standings, the Houston Astros had a 3.5-game lead over the Mets. Houston in 8th place in the National League standings, and the Mets in 9th place. Mets with an 8-game lead over the 10th place Chicago Cubs. Here's a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 10 for Bruce. The side is retired as Boyer took his cut. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. The score at the end of 7 1/2 innings is Houston 9, the Mets 2.
School's in means more time for mother, just as school's out means freedom for the kids in June. Celebrate your extra free time with a special shopping trip and then a carefree lunch at a Mike's Drive-In. Have a luscious Mike's Submarine with its tangy secret dressing, or bite into a Neva made of layer after layer of perfectly done beef on a soft bun. You've never tried a Neva or a Mike's Submarine? Do it today. Discover for yourself why over 61 million Mike's sandwiches have been enjoyed by people in the great Northeast. Say, Mets fans, how would you like a great big 8x10 photo of the Mets? That's right, a team picture of the whole bunch of them. You could hang it over your radio or next to your moose head or in one of your bedroom closets. What does it cost? Absolutely nothing. The mind boggles at the very thought of it. For a free 8x10 black and white team photo of our glorious Mets, write Mets Photo WGY Schenectady. That's Mets Photo WGY Schenectady.
Now we're going to the bottom half of the 8th inning, and Chuck Harrison is up to lead off, facing Bill Hepler on the mound for the New York Mets. Pitch is high and tight. Well, the Cleveland Indians have defeated the Detroit Tigers in the American League 6-5. Luis Tiant gets the win in relief. Larry Sherry takes the loss in relief. Homers by Davalillo and Cash. So, although Baltimore loses, Detroit does not gain any ground because the Tigers lose also. Swing and a ground ball through the hole in the left for a base hit. But Chuck Harrison, Larry Elliott up with the ball, plays it back. It's a leadoff single for the Astro first baseman as Houston bats in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Rusty Staub is up. He's 1 for 4. Left-hand batter. Houston 9, the Mets 2. Rainbow plays behind the runner at first. Pitch to Staub outside for a ball. Staub got his first hit of the day off left-hander Bill Hepler in the 7th inning. Now the pitch swung on and laced into right center. Moving over is Cleon Jones and back. He makes the catch on the run. Now hustling back to first is Chuck Harrison, who had gone almost as far as second. One away, Bill Heath. The Houston catcher's coming up. He is 2 for 4. Jerry Jerry Grody calls time, goes to the mound to have a word with his pitcher, Bill Hepler. The pitcher of record is young Nolan Ryan, who started today for the Mets. Gave up 4 runs in the bottom half of the first inning. Now the pitch to the left-hand batter is low for a ball. Hepler checks and deals. It's lined into right field for a base hit. One hopped out there and played back. Holding at second base is Chuck Harrison. He's gone with a single to right. Brings up Bob Aspromonte. Runners first and second. 1 man out. The Astros have 9 runs on 13 hits. The Mets have 2 runs on 4 hits. The Mets and the Astros were organized at the same time by the expansion draft, which was conducted actually in the fall of 1961, to ready the teams for play in the National League for the first time in 1962. There's a pitch inside for a ball. There was one important difference. The Astros had a minor league team, a AAA team, for 1 year before the expansion draft. The Mets did not. Pitch is low, 2-0. Going to the top half of the 8th inning at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Pirates 3 and the Giants nothing. Fryman against Gaylord Perry. Both starting pitchers are still in that ball game. Right here, the Astros lead the Mets 9-2. Runners first, second. Pitch to Aspromonte is low. It's short hop. One-hand stab by Grody, who dug it out cleanly. 3-0 to Aspromonte. Going to the top of the 6th at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The Philadelphia Phillies 4 and the Los Angeles Dodgers nothing. Larry Jackson's been in all the way for the Phils. Claude Osteen started for the Dodgers. Bill Singer in the 3rd and Jim Brewer in the 5th. This will be a 3-0 pitch to Bob Aspromonte. Aaron Pointer's on deck. Swing and a drive into right center. And Luplow comes over, makes the catch. Runner's halfway, and the throw comes in. No advance, 2 away. Al Luplow got a good jump and got over to right center to haul down the drive as Bob Aspromonte swung away on 3-0 and lined out. Now with 2 men out, Aaron Pointer's coming up. He appeared as a pinch hitter in the 7th, stayed in the ballgame. He drew a walk. Bill Hepler deals a pitch in there for a called strike. Nolan Ryan started for the Mets. He worked an inning, gave up 4 runs. Jack Hamilton worked 4 innings, was charged with 1 run that was scored after he left. He gave up 2 hits, struck out 1, and walked 3. Bob Gardner worked 2/3 of an inning. Darrell Sutherland worked the 3rd. He came in, struck out a man with the bases loaded. Here's a foul ball on the ground back to first. And as Sutherland came out to the pinch hitter, Bill Hepler took over. Hepler was reached for 4 runs in the 7th inning. Hepler reading the sign of Jerry Grody. Chuck Harrison, the runner at second. Bill Heath, the runner at first for Houston. Curveball way outside. 1-2 as Grody had to move out to glove that one. This is the 2nd season that the Houston Astros have played indoors here at the Astrodome. They played for 3 years at the temporary ballpark, Colt Stadium. 1-2 delivery. High and away for a ball. 2-2. There is not much that the Houston franchise has not changed since it began.
It's changed principal ownership. It's changed ballparks. It's changed managers, general managers. Here's a swing and a foul ball backing out of play. 2-2. Judge Roy Hoffheinz and Bob Smith were the principal owners at the outset, but the judge bought out the interest of Bob Smith to become the principal owner and, in fact, the boss of the operation. Paul Richards was the general manager at the outset. Here's 2-2 pitch, hitting in the dirt, and again dug out on a short hop by Jerry Grody, and the count runs full at 3-2. It means that the runners, Harrison at second and Heath at first, will be moving on this pitch. Houston is leading here by a score of 9-2. Harry Kraft was the field manager of the Houston club for 3 years, and then Luman Harris for a year. Payoff pitch for the runners going. He swings and misses, and Hepler strikes out Aaron Pointer to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. The score at the end of 8 full innings is Houston 9 and the Mets 2. We'll be broadcasting the second game of today's doubleheader as we continue to broadcast every game played by the New York Mets. We'll be on the air tomorrow night at 9:25 from the Astrodome here, and again on Tuesday night at 9:25. Then the Mets move on to Cincinnati Friday night, Saturday night, doubleheader Sunday against the Cincinnati Reds. Incidentally, the Sunday doubleheader was occasioned by the fact that the Mets were scheduled to open in Cincinnati the day before the regular season began for everybody else. The early season's traditional opener in Cincinnati, that was rained out. They scheduled it for the next day, which was a Tuesday. That was rained out back in April. Then it was scheduled on Wednesday, and that was rained out. So this doubleheader that is coming up 1 week from today is brought about by rain back early in April. That problem does not exist here at Houston because they play indoors. Then the Mets come back with 5 more games at Shea Stadium in New York, the Chicago Cubs and the Houston Astros. The Cubs in to start that last homestand on Tuesday night, September 27th. We go to the top of the ninth here, and Al Luplow is up to lead off for the Mets, facing right-hander Bob Bruce, who started and has been in all the way. Mets have only 4 hits off Bruce, who has struck out 10 and walked 2. Started the day with a record of 2 wins and 13 losses. Pitch to the left-hand batter, and it's high away for a ball. Al Luplow is nothing for 2 and a walk. Swings and sends a fly ball to right field. Rusty Staub racing over, and on the move he gets there for the out. Luplow flying out to Rusty Staub, moving to his right. One away, nobody on base, and Ed Craneville is the batter. He is 1 for 2 and a walk. For the season, Craneville is hitting .253, 15 home runs, and 54 runs batted in. Ball is bunted down the third baseline, a foul ball. Craneville bunting for a base hit here in the top half of the ninth inning, comes back with a count of strike 1. Leon Jones waiting on deck.
If Bruce should win, it'll be his first victory since July 8th. He has lost 7 straight games.
New York Mets flew into Houston last night, coming here directly from San Francisco. Strike 1 pitch. Swung on and lined into right field for a Craneville base hit, his second of the day. Rusty Staub up, plays it back, and Craneville on at first with 1 away, and Leon Jones is the batter. He's 1 for 3. Leon settles himself into the batter's box. Bob Bruce trying to go all the way here. came into today's game having lost 7 straight. Pitch is inside for a ball. Bruce achieved his last win on July 8th. Second game today, it'll be Dave Justy for Houston. Tug McGraw for the Mets. 1-0 pitch. Swung on it on the ground. Back to Bruce. He goes to second, and the runner's safe. Throw to first, and the runner saves the ball. Gets back, goes in the dugout. Runners move up. Shortstop Bob Lillis came across behind the bag, then trying to get to it, took the throw a stride across, did not touch the bag, and the throw then was low past Harrison. Cleon Jones was safe, and the throw went into the dugout. Cleon is moving on to second. Cranepool has gone to third. He's standing on the bag there. So a conference is being held between Augie Donatelli and Stan Landis. As to proper position of the runners, Landis had temporarily indicated that Cranepool should come on home, but he and Donatelli talk it over, and runners hold at second and third. So it'll be now Larry Elliott coming up. Runners at second and third, 1 man out. Elliott singled to drive in the 2 Met runs in the second inning. Since then, he has struck out and had another base hit. He's 2 for 3. Swinging a foul ball backing out of play. Bob Lillis charged with an error on the play. Cleon Jones, of course, on a fielder's choice. Here's a swing and a miss. 2-strike count to Elliott. Jerry Grody waiting on deck. Houston leading 9-2. The Mets batting in the top half of the 9th inning. Mets have a total of 5 hits. There's a swing and a high pop. It's in foul territory toward third. Aspromonte in front of the dugout. Makes the catch. No advance. 2 away. Elliott fouling out to Aspromonte in front of the Met dugout along the third base line. So now the Mets are down to their last out of the ball game. In the National Football League, at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas, at the end of 3 quarters of play, the Dallas Cowboys 45, the New York Giants 7. Jerry Grody in and waiting. Pitch is high for a ball. Cranepool at third and Cleon Jones at second base. Claude Raymond is up and throwing again in the Houston bullpen. The 1-0 pitch. Swung on and a little nubber down toward third. It's taken there by Aspromonte, thrown on the run, and the ball game is over. A swinging roller top down toward third off the bat of Jerry Grody. Taken by Aspromonte and thrown out of Chuck Harrison, and now the scoreboard explodes all over the Astrodome as this ball game is over, and the Astros have their 66th win of the season, tying their previous high in victories for a year. In the top half of the 9th inning for the Mets, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 left. We'll be back in a moment with the final summary and totals. Right now, the final score of the game is the Astros 9, the Mets 2.
This is WGY News. This is the sound that means news. Up to the minute, concise, and complete. From the facilities of NBC, Associated Press, United Press International, the United States Weather Bureau, a staff of stringers throughout a 26-county area, and a newsroom staff of experienced news people, WGY keeps you informed of the latest happenings. More than 20 times a day in regularly scheduled newscasts from 6 in the morning to midnight, WGY brings you the latest news from around the world, around the area, and across the street. And when something newsworthy happens, you get it in bulletin form when it happens. All this, plus specialized programs on farm news, sports, weather, and business, make WGY's news department your best information center for what's going on in the world today.
At the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, in the first game of a doubleheader, the Houston Astros have defeated the Mets by a score of 9-2. To tell you something of how they did it, here's Ralph Kiner.
Well, the Mets started a young rookie pitcher, Nolan Ryan, in the ball game. Nolan struck out the side in the first inning, worked a total of 26 minutes on the mound and gave up 4 runs and 4 hits. Actually, he was not helped at all by a misjudged fly ball in left field that went for a double. Nolan was taken out, but the damage had been done, and the Astros went on to win the ball game by a score of 9-2. Bill Heath was a 3-for-5 man in the ball game with 3 hits and 5 times up. Bob Aspromonte had 2 for 4 as the Astros picked up a total of 13 hits off the combined pitching of Nolan Ryan, Jack Hamilton, Rob Gardner, Darryl Sutherland, and Bill Hepler. Losing pitcher was Ryan. His record now 0-1 in his very first Major League start. The winning pitcher was Bob Bruce. His record now 3-13 as he pitched his first complete game of the year. And during the ball game, he struck out a total of 10 batters, which was his season's high. For the Mets, Ken Boyer had his 10-game hitting streak stopped by Bob Bruce as Ken went 0 for 4 in the ball game. Eddie Kranepool got 2 hits and 3 times up to continue his strong hitting. He came into Houston after finishing the game in San Francisco, getting 4 for 5. So the Houston Astros won the first game of this doubleheader. In doubleheaders, the Mets have won 5. They have lost 4, and they have split 11, and they have their second game coming up, as it will be Tug McGraw pitching for the Mets against Dave Justy. Mets had their 7-game streak against the Astros stopped by the loss. And the win for the Astros tied the most wins ever by the Astros in any one season as they picked up their 66th victory. They have lost 85. Against the Mets now, they have won their 4th game of 12 played. And here in Houston, they have won their 3rd game of 6 played. The line score in the ball game, the Astros 9 runs, 13 hits, 1 error, 11 men left on. The Mets 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. They left 6 men on base.